Allegorical Urban Family Legends, copyright November 22nd, 2008. Incident, the meeting of two cousins in the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, Municipal Conference. Back in the spring of 1795, my wife had given birth to our first child, a son, and didn't want me hanging around to scare her baby whilst she was nursing him. So I'd gone out that fateful night to check that my wooden clog workshop was secure. After coming I found its door ajar and secured it. I couldn't see anybody about and assumed the Fae had broken in search of wooden bowls and utensils they could hold their libations in. The Fae were holding another big get-together in their fell nearby. I then headed for the local cafe for a drink, a cafe that would be better called a tavern. My cousin Madeleine poured me several stout sherries. I left her cafe shortly before midnight and headed back to my shop, somewhat drunk, intent to chase out any Fays should I find them sneaking about in it. The clatter of clogs inside the shop alerted me to their presence, and come upon a troop of giggling, bat-winged young Fey girls. I should have wisely avoided the females of that race, but foolishly I accepted the sweet fermented Fey wine they offered me. It wasn't long before my form began to alter, and within 3 hours of encountering them, I was much transmuted into a giggling, somewhat tipsy young Fey girl myself. Just another girl in the pack who was drunk on the Fey wine. She was liberally downing. So it was I woke up the next morning, sober in a dress of leaves with a magicked gold and silver coins beneath me. In the unholy fell I found myself sleeping in. The Fae get-together had ended, and the concert convention goers had all departed, leaving me as the new Fae guardian of the golden hoard they had left in the hollow fell called Barger Fell. It didn't take me long to find my way through mazes that would have been impossible for me to negotiate when I was still my old human self. I got to the sealed entrance of the fell and was startled when the rock dissolved apart upon my command. As the sunlight fell upon me, it triggered a change in my mind and body. Green scales raced along my thickening fleshy hide, and my form grew bigger and more savage as I transformed into the dragon guardian of the Bargerfell horde. In this savage, bestial state, I stayed until the sun crept below the horizon, when I returned to the form and demeanor of a light-hearted fey girl. Unfortunately, though, my dragonish guardian temperament had evaporated with the darkness, my memory hadn't. I recalled with startling clarity my surveillance and patrols outside of the fell during the day, and coming across a human body I hadn't recognized as anything but a inconsequential object whilst a dragon, but which I now knew was a changeling body that resembled the one I'd had once. I cautiously made my way out of the fell and headed down to where my human body doppelganger lay lifelessly. Luckily for me, it still lay where I remembered, so I began to huff and puff as I struggled to haul it back to the fell with my much lighter, slender, and weakened fey body. However, I wished I could regain the brute strength of my dragon body, but it apparently had no power over that. Either the time of the rising sun or the sunlight itself effected my transformation into the Horde Guardian. Finally, I dragged the lifeless, fleshy mannequin back within the Bargerfell, thus ending any risk of its discovery, a discovery I could not allow. Came morning, I'd use my pointy teeth and bigger cast iron guts to dispose of it. Come morning, I woke up and immediately headed out into the pre-dawn light. Musing about my fate and the danger I posed to my wife and now only son. I knew if they'd discovered my doppelganger lying near Bargerfell, they'd keep investigating around it, and if they came across me in my dragonish state, I'd view them as nothing more than a threat to the Gold Horde I was now entwined with, rather than as the relatives I'd once been related to. I needed to destroy all traces of my visit to the fell the previous night, starting with that body I'd dragged into the Bargerfell. My body did not react to the light, but the second the sun peeped its head over the east horizon, I felt the hunger, the itch, the pull on my spine, and the pain in my jaws that preceded my transformation into a dragon guardian. Once the changes were finished, I did a quick patrol around the fell, then went back inside and gobbled up myself. And so ended my old human life and the beginning of my young dragon fey one.